Good evening, you're watching TKC World, where we make sense of the global events with straight facts and sharp analysis. Tonight on the show, we start with the UNSC Meet on Pahalgam. We will tell you how India is preparing for potential war with mock drills on May 7th, but we also ask some critical questions like why is Prime Minister Narendra Modi missing in action, and discuss how victims of Pahalgam attack are being trolled by fellow Indians online. Also on the show, we discuss, is Germany headed for a far-right takeover after Merz fails to secure majority? Meanwhile, Hollywood slams Trump's 100% tariff threats on foreign films. And finally, is cheaper oil a warning sign for the world economy? Because crude oil prices are at a 4-year low. We will tell you the reasons and why does it matter. All this is lined up. Let's begin. Sometimes when you try to play a victim, the world reminds you that actions have their own consequences. That's exactly what has happened at the United Nations Security Council when Pakistan, of all countries in the world, called for a special meeting after the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 innocent tourists in Kashmir. Now just think about it. The same country that shelters terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba walks into the global forum and says, "We want to talk peace, we need peace talks." Dear viewers, the irony couldn't have been louder. But the world didn't fall for it, at least this time. Instead of sympathy, Pakistan faced sharp criticism. UNSC members rejected its ridiculous quote-unquote false flag theory and grilled it for firing missiles, issuing nuclear threats, and most importantly for its links to the very terror organization accused in the Pahalgam attack, that's Lashkar-e-Taiba, a UN and US designed designated terror organization. So yes, Pakistan basically shot itself in the foot, and the world saw through it, through the act of Pakistan. But here is the other side of the story. India isn't just sitting quiet. For the first time since 1971 war, the Indian government has ordered nationwide civil defense mock drills on May 7th. And that's a big move. These drills aren't just for a show. They are meant to test how India would possibly respond if war actually broke out. Air raid sirens will be tested, students and civilians will be trained on what to do during missile attacks, evacuation plans will be updated and rehearsed, control rooms and communication systems with the Indian Air Force will be tested, and shadow teams will simulate real-life response. But why is this such a big deal? Because it sends a very clear message to the enemy. India is prepared not just militarily, but strategically and most importantly, emotionally. After the Indus Waters Treaty was suspended and trade routes were shut, this drill is yet another step in tightening the pressure over Pakistan. But while all this is happening at the policy level, there is a burning question that we must ask. What is the government really planning to do next? Because while the nation stands united with Prime Minister Modi and his government, there is a rising frustration on the ground. It's been 2 weeks since the Pahalgam attack. 26 families are still mourning, but PM Modi hasn't met the victims' family till now. Not once. Instead, he is been campaigning in election-bound Bihar, cracking jokes in rallies in Kerala, and posing for photos with Bollywood stars at summits. And that's where this whole hurts even deeper, because governance isn't just about policies and drills. It is about the presence, standing with your citizens, about showing the nation that this pain matters. A return from a foreign trip and few internal meetings won't cut it. The families of the victims deserve more, they deserve answer, and the country deserves answers. Lastly, we come to a heartbreaking twist in this whole story. One of the most iconic images after the attack was of Himbanshi Narwal, the newlywed widow of Navy officer Winnie Narwal, sitting silently by his body. That photo became a symbol of national grief. But days later, when she appealed for peace and asked people not to target Muslims and Kashmiris, you know what happened? She was trolled. She was trolled brutally. The same people who called her a symbol of bravery suddenly turned on her. Why? Because she didn't fuel the cycle of hate. Why? Because she stood for unity instead of revenge. She was abused. She was called names, accused of everything from betrayal to dishonor, just for asking to keep calm. Another survivor, Arathi Menon, faced similar online hate just because She spoke gently just because she maintained her calm and because she mentioned kindness and local for Kashmiri people. Why aren't these accounts blocked till now? Why aren't these accounts blocked till now? Just sharing hard words are not enough. These people with such pathetic mindset must face serious consequences. This is the time we help these victims rehabilitate. We as fellow citizens of this country help in keeping internal peace. And rather than that, these people are doing exactly opposite, complete opposite. Where is the IT ministry now? So what does this tell us? That grief in this country is now filtered through ideology. That even mourning is touched. It's time we ask, are we really honoring the sacrifice of these tourists? Or just using their tragedy for a political point scoring? Because until justice is done, real justice, the drills, the speeches and slogans all ring hollow. Imagine you have planned a big celebration, booked the venue, called the guests, written your speech, and just before the party starts, you are told, sorry, you did not get the job. This is the situation of Friedrich Merz. Merz is the leader of Germany's conservative Christian Democratic Union, and he was widely expected to become the next Chancellor of Germany. You see, his coalition formed with the center-left SPD had won the elections and secured some 328 seats out of 630 seats in parliament. Now this is a simple math because the majority mark is 316, you get 328, you can easily form a government. But when the actual vote happened, Merz only got 310, 6 votes short. This is embarrassing, absolutely historic, certainly yes. No German chancellor candidate in the modern history has ever failed like this in their first vote after winning an election. So the question is, what went wrong? 18 MPs from his own coalition did not vote for him. No one saying who, but it's likely that some members of the SPD, Merz's new partners, had second thoughts. Maybe they never truly believed in this coalition in the first place, or maybe they just did not trust Merz to lead Germany out of its political mess. Now Germany's parliament has 14 days to vote again. If no one gets a full majority by then, the rules of the games will change. In round 3, anyone who gets the most votes, majority or not, can become chancellor. Or Germany's president could dissolve the parliament and call for fresh elections. These are the options available. That's the last thing anyone wants except for one party. Enter the AfD, the far-right party that comes second in the February election with over 20% of the vote. They have already pounced on Merz's failure, calling it proof that Germany needs a new election and stronger leadership. Their leader, Alice Windel, has gone a step further, demanding Merz step down and let the people choose again their leader, their chancellor. So let's pause here. The AfD is not just any party, it's officially declared extremist by German authorities, and yet voters are listening. Why? I will tell you why. Because unlike the fractured left and center, the AfD is speaking with one voice. It's promising order, strength, and a clear direction, even if the path is a little dangerous. This is a pattern we have seen globally. Left-leaning and centrist parties want to lead, but they often fail to inspire the confidence. They win votes, but lose trust. They form coalitions, but cannot hold them together. And into the vacuum, into the cracks, walk the far right with confidence, clarity, and sometimes charisma. Merz's failure wasn't just a bad day in parliament, it was a warning. If Germany's mainstream parties don't get their act together, voters may soon turn to their very forces they once feared. And this time, the far right might not just make noise, they might take over the mic. What happens when a politician who doesn't understand the movie business tries to quote-unquote fix it? And what does a 100% tariff on foreign films even mean for Hollywood? This week, Donald Trump threw yet another curveball, announcing his intention to impose 100% tariffs on all foreign-made movies. In his word, please allow me to quote him here, "We want movies made in America again." The reaction from Hollywood was swift and skeptical as expected. Studio executives held crisis meetings, entertainment stocks dipped, and industry insiders dismissed the idea. and I quote, as a policy made on the fly by someone who doesn't grasp how the entertainment economy works. Now, here is the problem. Many American blockbusters, from Mission Impossible to James Bond, are filmed overseas, outside the United States of America. Now, not because they are unpatriotic, no, but because countries like UK, Canada, and Ireland offer better filming incentives, tax rebates, and locations that fit the demand of the script. Jonathan Handel, an entertainment lawyer, explained very clearly the whole situation. You can buy a movie ticket, but you don't buy a movie ticket like you buy a car or shirt. Movies are intellectual property, IP, not physical goods. So, how exactly do you tax a digital product that's streamed or screened globally? That's the question nobody in the Trump camp seems to be able to answer. But even if a tariff could be imposed, the result could be disastrous for the US film industry that is already struggling. Higher production costs, fewer films released, and limited content for cinemas and streaming platforms. This is going to be the outcome if this becomes a reality. As Handel pointed out, it could hurt Hollywood more than it could help Hollywood. Now, while many agree that US needs to bring back home local film production, the Hollywood, industry experts say that solution is not tariff, definitely not tariff. It's a state level incentive and rebates like other countries are doing. Countries around the world have been luring productions away from Hollywood now for years. How? Through smart tax policies. Without competitive offers, these productions are not going to come back, no matter what Trump writes on Truth Social or X. And this isn't just a policy debate, it's a tough time for Hollywood. The industry is still recovering from the 2023 strikes, and filming days in Los Angeles have hit a record low in 2024. And one anonymous studio executive told Deadline, I cannot see his target here other than confusion and distraction. This is what he told to Deadline. Another insider added, tariffs will just choke the remaining life out of the business. Now, as uncertainty spreads, the White House has clarified that no decision is final, but Trump hasn't walked back from his comments either. Instead, he blamed California's governor, Gavin Newsom, saying Hollywood was decimated under his leadership. So what's the strategy here? Because right now, all it looks like a chaos dressed this policy. And in the end, we are left asking, who benefits from this? Other than confusion itself. And to that I say, confusion is not a strategy, it's chaos, and I wish America good luck because they might need all of it. On Monday, global oil prices dropped to a 4-year low, catching many by surprise. Brent crude settled at around $61 a barrel, and US West Texas immediately fell to just $58, levels we have not seen since February 2021. So why are fuel prices falling when global tensions are rising? Why is oil suddenly the cheapest it's been since early 2021? What's going on? The big reason is a sudden shift in the strategy by OPEC Plus, the powerful oil-producing alliance led by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Over the weekend, they announced they had speed up oil production hikes for the second month in a row. This means that they are putting more oil into the market faster than anybody expected. Now basic economics kicks in. More supply plus weak demands equals to falling prices. This is the whole economical equation. And markets reacted quickly. In just 6 days, oil prices have dropped over 10%, and since April it's been down more than 20%. For everyday people, that might sound like a good news, leading to cheaper petrol, lower transport costs, and even relief in inflation in some areas, some countries. But behind the scenes, there is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things that is happening. Here is why it is happening. First, demand is weak. Many countries are importing oil less because of concerns that the global economy is slowing. Why? Especially after US President Trump's tariff threats caused fresh anxiety in the global world of business. Businesses are holding back, customers are cautious, and energy use is not rising as fast as the production or as fast as people expected. Second, the OPEC Plus shift is confusing markets. For years, the group worked very hard to keep oil prices stable by cutting supply, but now they have flipped. They have changed their strategy. They're flooding the markets when demand is shaky. Experts are unsure why. Some believe OPEC Plus is trying to protect its market share from US shale producers or Asian suppliers. According to Yip Young Rong from IG, today's slight rebound is more technical than anything fundamental. There are still headwinds, trade tensions, weak forecasts, and too much oil in the market. There was a minor rebound on Tuesday, around 1%, thanks to China reopening after a 5-day break, and US data showing slight growth in the service sector, basically. This was the reason behind this rebound. That gave some hope the demand side may hold up. Still, experts are cautious. Barclay just slashed its Brent forecast for 2025 to $70, and for 2026 it expected price around $62, citing what is called a rocky road ahead. Meanwhile, the US Fed is likely to pause interest rates hike, watching how Trump tariffs and global trends play out. So yes, oil is cheap, but for now, but this price drop isn't just about fuel. It is a warning signal for the global economy, because when oil gets this cheap this fast, it usually means something much bigger is slowing down. And that's all I have for you on the show tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care and good night.